But we should probably spend just a couple of minutes chatting about the Spurs game, because I feel like we need to tee that off.
Do we have to?
We know that conceding 5 goals in the first half in a televised game never normally ends well. But that was the final score, so, there's something to be taken from that.
Second half clean sheet.
I'm trying. I mean, as soon as you concede in the first 40 seconds, you've got to bounce back, and that just proved yesterday that we are so incapable of that. If anybody had any doubt about the bounce back from a setback, it's just not there.
Yeah, 36 seconds. So I think that's the quickest that you've conceded a goal in the Premier League since 2012, maybe. Something like that. Also, I think Southampton are the only club to have gone into half-time 5-0 down twice as well in the Premier League, so at home at least.
We've also, I think...
It's less than 5-0.
It must have been, yeah.
2 in injury time.
Madison scored as well, didn't he?
But I think the other one I saw earlier today was that... so we've conceded 5 in one half 4 times in the Premier League. No other side's done it more than once.
Oh, there you go.
Breaking records?
Yeah.
Well, you said, didn't you? You said they might break records this season. It might not be that one.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Yeah, they completely failed to bounce back up until about the 25th minute with the 4th. After that, they actually started to pose a little bit of a threat, and obviously Glen makes the correct point that they'd given up at that point, Spurs, because they'd won the game and they didn't need to, with a big schedule, they didn't need to worry about it. But I thought at that point, Tyler Diblin did actually start and get on the ball, creating chances. Adam Armstrong actually had a couple of decent chances to get a goal. There was particularly one, I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but someone came on the left, might have been Manning with the ball in the left, Adam Armstrong, adjacent to the front post, just knocked it wide. So there was a chance to make it look more respectable. But I agree with Glen, it's almost pointless to talk about because they were so far off the pace for enough of that game that it meant nothing for the rest of the night.
And it was a big admission of failure that you got it wrong when you had to bring Nathan Wood on and take Sulemana off.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Martin will be kind of hoisted by really is his loyalty, his seeming loyalty to players who a lot of the fan base don't feel deserve such loyalty, and kind of vice versa in many ways. I think there's quite a lot of sort of stock in managers kind of spouting a line of meritocracy within the squad, and if you earn a place in the you've got to earn a place in the team, and once you're in the team, if you perform, then you retain your place. And Nathan Wood has earned his place in the team, through suspensions and injuries, but he's earned his place in the team, and for 2 games against tough opposition, against Chelsea and Villa, has played well. And
I think he was our player of the week last week, actually, for the first time.
And then
on this week.
We will.
Yeah. and then come last night, he's out of the starting 11.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can you expect to retain the it's not respect is probably the wrong word, but the kind of feeling among the players, especially the fringe players, that if they play well, then they'll get a chance, and that they'll have an opportunity of keeping their place. If the first opportunity you get to demonstrate that, you revert back to bringing Jan Bednarek back into the team and things like that.
And he didn't look with it either, did he?
No,
no, all over the place.
And similarly, Sulemana. I mean, as we said, he's been at the club 2 years now and has shown nothing. He's had injury problems, but so have other players, and they've still managed to put in the occasional flicker every now and then. And I don't quite understand, and we've discussed this before in recent weeks, how he's the guy that's getting these little cameo appearances off the bench, and obviously last night he started, when there doesn't appear to be anything that we can work with there. There doesn't appear to be, there's nothing that we see from him that looks like, he's really trying and he's getting into the system and just nothing's just quite working for him. There just doesn't appear to be anything that fits with him. Whereas you've got young players that are coming through the system, like Sam Amo, who, he's probably not up to it at Premier League level, but he's an option.
You'd rather have seen him playing, wouldn't you?
And he is at least, you can see that he has learned certain things in the system on how to play and how to adapt into certain situations, and yet he's not been given any sort of run out really. He got a fleeting run out at Villa, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, he did well. I will say on Kamaldeen, right? Like obviously, we've all been critical of Kamaldeen Sulemana, rightly so, in the last couple of years.
I don't think I have.
Check the tapes.
But, and I'm saying the obvious here, but I still felt that the 50th minute, I felt that was a really, really bad moment for Russell Martin. To have 8 days to come up with a plan for a team who we have identified could be got at and other teams have proven they could be got at, and to come up with that and then have to admit 15 minutes in because your team have absolutely shit the bed and they've given the game away immediately, and then you've got to haul the lad off who's not played once since the start of the season, 15 minutes in, and tell him, sorry mate, I got it totally wrong.
But did you know, as soon as I saw Nathan Wood warming up, I knew it was Sulemana coming off.
Because unfortunately, it was the obvious choice.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that's the wrong decision, but the fact is he got that so badly wrong. We had to embarrass a 22-year-old lad who's had no hope for the last 2 years. He finally gets a chance, thinks, I could have a go here. Right, he was never
the biggest issue is that he spent 8 days coming up with a plan, and it included Kamaldeen Sulemana. So,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised it didn't work. But the players barbecued him. Russell Martin, whatever he did for that game, the players absolutely barbecued him with their lack of effort, lack of commitment to the.
What was the tackle for the first goal? He was saying that we should have given a foul, wasn't he?
The only one he was complaining about was the one where Walker Peters lost the ball down the line, which I think was the fourth goal. That made a massive difference, obviously, to the way the game was playing out. That fourth goal.
I think
that wasn't the one he missed, was it? No, he was on the touchline for that.
He did have complaints about the first goal. He felt that Jed Spence, I think it was, when he put the ball, it should have been brought down earlier on. He made reference to the fact that Flynn Downs was in a very similar situation later in the game, and he was brought down by the Spurs players. Yeah. But to be fair to say, I mean, they've had that this season. They've had that little bit of bite and that tactical foul, but. Yeah, I mean, if that's your biggest complaint in a 5-0 defeat...
30 seconds in, though. You're not going to want to do it 30 seconds in.
It'll be on a yellow card, yeah. We didn't make a mistake at the back. That's a positive, right? It's
good.
Well, I mean, McCarthy didn't really have... One goal went under him, then it's Son's first. Son's goal.
Were you surprised that he came back in?
No. Not really.
No.
Because Lumley's terrible. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a League One goalkeeper. Yeah. And yes, he did all right against Brighton because he didn't have a vast amount to do. But... he's an absolute train wreck League One goalkeeper. He is our fourth choice on merit, and I think McCarthy on one leg would, it was when the crosses were fizzing across the box against Chelsea and Lumley was flapping around. That was sort of made me realise how much better than him McCarthy is, and it's a low bar because McCarthy's not fantastic, obviously, but he's a lot better than Lumley. So no, I wasn't surprised at all. But hopefully. It's just a one-game thing, and Ramsdale will be back in goal, if not on Wednesday, by the weekend.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Anything else on Spurs before we move on? I am going to push you for Player of the Week, but I suspect that's just going to be Tyler Dibling. So, anything else on yesterday's mess?
No.
What I will say, actually, I thought the fans were in between the sort of chanting, we want Martin out, and the banners. I actually thought there was a bit of noise going on for the entire game. I don't know if that's just sort of like Gallo.
Second half was decent in that regard.
I think it's at that point where it's so bad, we're in this together sort of thing. But I actually felt that there was a really good atmosphere for a lot of the game when everyone had been within their rights to have left at half time. And some did. We saw the BT cameras. We saw the BT
cameras.
They
love that, don't they?
Yeah. But I actually thought there was a decent atmosphere in between those sort of chants.
And it got pretty toxic at times yesterday. But bearing in mind where we are in the league table, I mean, look at that. Yeah. It took us an absolutely shocking performance for all that stuff to come out. And it only came out for, sort of sporadically in the first half, 3 or 4 times, however many goals we let in, 5 times.
Have we mentioned the thumbs up?
No, no, give us a wave.
I'll tell you what, I did feel sorry for Russell Martin there. Obviously, the Northern men chanting, give us a wave, Russell Martin, give us a wave. He gives a little thumbs up and they boo him. I just thought, well, that's the end, isn't it? You don't come back from that. I did feel for him.
Game over. Yeah. So Nathan Wood won Player of the Week last week, first time for him, which I think was well deserved. Anybody this week?
Manning,
I thought,
Manning was decent. And
you said actually,
I mean, he's basically playing. He's kind of playing as a vaguely competent lower half Premier League player at the moment, which kind of, as Glen said, is probably his ceiling. But at the end of the day, he's one of very few players who is playing at their ceiling at the moment.
He stood out because he put effort in.
Yeah,
he put effort in,
and he looked upset to go off.
65 minutes. Yeah, and it was interesting that Postecoglou shook his hand afterwards.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, really, really noticeable. He sort of diverted from what he was doing and went to shake Manning's hand. Now, I don't know if he's the sort of guy who does that with all opposition players, but I thought that was an interesting one because I thought Manning was by at that stage, Dibbling came to life a bit after
Yeah.
that. But I thought by that stage, Manning was out far and away our best player.
Yeah.
So it was a strange substitution. But
I feel for Ryan Manning because, I mean, yes, he made a couple of mistakes last year, but I did feel at the time he was pretty unfairly scapegoated at times. And
We always need a scapegoat, though.
you
That's
always
the
need a
thing.
scapegoat, and obviously
And he
Jack
was an easy
Stevens
target.
has done a lot for that this season, probably, to be fair. But he is a genuinely nice fella, actually, Ryan Manning, and I do really wish him the best, and I hope that he's still here next season, so I think he'd be really useful for Southampton. Obviously, he's one of Russell Martin's signings, so you don't know if that changes things at all. But yeah, I think I'm really happy for him that he's actually doing well this year.
All right, we'll put Ryan Manning, and I think we should put Tyler Dibbling then, 50-50.